Today we're going to be talking about something very scary. I've been seeing this floating around for the past week or so, and it feels like I've entered the twilight zone. It feels like I've entered the boss level of being alive, because this is just too much, man. If you're chronically on TikTok, you may have seen people posting about how flabbergasted they were when they saw that a school not only actively posts on TikTok, but is growing a sizable following as well. Fortunately for the public, he decided to private his TikTok account, so now no new people can be exposed to his videos. Unfortunately for us though, I can't go as deep as I wanted to because I was only able to watch a few videos beforehand and I didn't download any of the videos that I watched, so we're working on secondhand clips here. Sorry about that. I tried to gather as many relevant clips as I could from John and what he's saying, so y'all don't think that I'm just pulling these things out of my ass. Also, I'm not gonna mask my feelings about this guy at all. So if you thought I was mean during my Bobby Altoff video, I'm about to go nuclear on this one. You want mean? I'll show you mean. In order to see the full picture, we're gonna have to travel back to February 9th, 2004. Unfortunately, when you try to look up what exactly happened that day, you're gonna be bombarded with articles talking about his sword attack and his recollection of the events of 2004, which is, they're wrong, by the way, but we'll get into that later. I'm not gonna do a play-by-play on what exactly happened on February 9th, 2004, because this isn't a recap of what happened in the final quarter of a football game. Here's the SparkNotes version. So John walked into school with a loaded shotgun because he wanted to die via police. Fortunately, though, he got tackled by a faculty member before he was able to kill anyone. He was given 20 years for attempted murder and like a few other charges that I can't remember off the top of my head, and he was released after 17 years. The best case scenario for a school shooting is that the gunman is restrained before anyone is hurt. Unfortunately, that's not the case for this story because someone was injured, but luckily they recovered. Actually, I think 2 people were injured, but again, they recovered. In 2022, John was attacked by a mentally ill black man at a homeless shelter that he was working at. Once he was well enough to do so, John decided to take his story to TikTok and gain a platform off of this. Gotta love TikTok. They just let anybody in over there. Apparently, John decided to make this whole sword attack into a white hate crimes are real kind of discussion. I'm not entertaining that. I'm gonna be honest. That's not the point of this video. We're not getting in. No. All I'm gonna say about the sword attack itself is, hey sport, I'm sorry that happened to you. As he was gaining followers, some people started to squint their eyes and point their fingers at him. They were like, wait a minute, I know this guy. So yeah, people started to recognize him as that one kid who brought a deadly weapon to school. Since he clearly couldn't hide it any longer, he decided to pivot his content and start becoming a mental health and strict gun laws advocate. I mean, he talked about these things as if it was his life mission from the get-go. No, man. He made this long-winded woe is me video about his mindset during the tragic day in 2004. Here's how he frames the events. I couldn't find a good enough video of him talking about this himself, so we're just going off of this article. The sum of it is that he did not walk into that school with the intention of hurting anybody, and all of the shots that he fired wasn't aimed at anybody, and the only one that did hit somebody, apparently that was just completely unintentional. The bullet had ricocheted, and it's just, point is, he did not go into that school with the intention of hurting anybody, and he felt so alone, and it was just deeply remorse, and he felt really lonely, and he just wanted to be noticed by everybody at his school for once in his life, and that's basically it. There's a lot more to it, obviously, but yeah, that's all you really need to know. To be honest, I don't care about his perspective during the events because of course he's gonna subtly justify his actions. You can tell he's doing this because he really loves to hammer home this narrative of, oh, I didn't intend to hurt anybody, I was just lonely. Too many articles also share this story in a way that's supposed to garner sympathy or frame him as this misguided soul, and it's not working for most people. It's me. I'm most people. He can paint this story however he wants, but we've seen the court documents. Have you seen the court documents? Here, I'll show you the court documents. Do you want to know what really happened? In February 2004, defendant, who was 16 years old, wrote a side note, and then took a loaded shotgun into the local high school that he had previously attended. After entering a bathroom and waiting approximately 15 minutes, defendant used his cell phone to send text messages to his friends informing them that he was in school with a gun and warned them to leave. A few minutes later, while exiting the bathroom, defendant encountered Eric Farrell, a student. Defendant pointed a shotgun at Farrell, who ran into an opened classroom. At that point, defendant saw two other students, Jeffrey Canary and Christopher Stepaknik. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last Stepanik. I apologize. In the hall outside of the bathroom, Canary made eye contact with the defendant, who pointed the shotgun directly at him and pulled the trigger. Canary, who dropped to the ground as he saw a flash of fire from the barrel of the gun, was not hit. After Canary and Stepnik heard a second shot being chambered and attempted to run and crawl away, defendant fired at them again, and the wadding of the shotgun round struck Stepnik in the leg. Defendant then entered a classroom with the gun, but was pulled back by Assistant Principal John Sawchuk, who attempted to wrestle the shotgun away from him. As a teacher, Michael Bennett approached to assist Sawchuk. Defendant swung around and the gun went off, striking Bennett in the leg. At Sawchuk's urging, defendant then agreed to give up the shotgun. Defendant was arrested and transported to the oh my god. I'm sorry, don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to attempt. He was transported to the county jail, where he was observed that night laughing at television news of the incident. Weird how he failed to mention the fact that he did aim at people and found the events to be funny, hilarious. Even. It's almost like he couldn't admit those things online and simultaneously throw his pity party on TikTok because it would have looked really bad. Because it looks really bad. Some people are coming to John's defense because he served his time and believed that he's been rehabilitated. If you believe that people can change and can be rehabilitated, then I'm not here to take that away from you. If it's any consolation to those individuals, I don't believe that John Romano is going to bring a gun to a public place ever again. But, at the same time, he does acknowledge that if he wanted to repeat history, then he very much could do so.
You're right, I'm a violent felon who can never legally own a firearm again. However, American gun culture is so out of control, I could very easily get one if I wanted to. There's even gun shows in a lot of states that don't require background checks, so think about that. I, a school shooter, could go and get one if I wanted to.
You could argue and say that he's bringing awareness to how easily people can acquire firearms, and he's not condoning this behavior. But that clip doesn't really help that case, because all he's doing is saying, oh yeah, I would totally do it again if I could. But I won't, but I could. That doesn't sound like bringing awareness to me. That sounds like a threat. I could do it. It's very easy to. I could just go to a gun show and get a gun because they don't check for anything. They don't do background checks or nothing. I could easily get one if I wanted to. But I won't. But I could. But I won't. But I could. I'm getting the chills. I'm getting itchy. My point is that his activism is too shallow and isn't doing anything, if we're being honest with ourselves, but making people uncomfortable at best and aspiring the wrong people at worst. How could his platform inspire people, you're wondering? John has said on multiple occasions that he wanted to be seen by his school, which is the whole reason why he brought the gun in the first place. He wanted to pass away, he wanted to die, but he wanted people to finally see him. He wanted attention. And guess what? He got it. Hello? He gained a platform from this shit, which proves, hey, if you can get away with the crime or wait it out, then you'll get the attention that you always wanted. Obviously, this isn't good attention because the majority of people are not taking his fame very well. But that's technically what he did. He technically got the attention that he wanted this whole time. He's monetizing off of a tragedy that he caused and is showing people that you can do the same. Now, I don't think that he was intentionally doing this. I don't think that was the whole mastermind plot this whole time. I don't think that's necessarily why he decided to get on TikTok. But that's kind of what he's doing. It's inadvertently happening regardless of whether he intended it to or not. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Impact over intent. It doesn't matter what your intentions were. This is the impact that it's causing. Obviously, this is speculation. Obviously, I am jumping a lot of hurdles and making a lot of assumptions here. But that could happen if the wrong people, like this could, like the 4chan girlies are having a field day right now. Like, this could happen. And I'm not saying that if it does happen, it's John Romano's fault specifically, but like, it could happen. What's really fucked up is how he responds to people who want him off the platform. He says that people are spreading unnecessary negativity to him and his supporters, and that people are trying to get clout off of his tragedy and his victims. No. I don't think you heard me the first time. Let me repeat myself. He has an issue with people getting clout off of his tragedy and his victims.
Why are you talking about me? Why do you got my picture showing on there? You're
Because
trying to
I
get
don't think
views
you
and
belong.
likes off of me and
Oh,
my
here we
tragedy
go.
that I
I
committed.
want
So
views and
you are
likes off of
disrespecting
you.
not only me for what I went through, you're disrespecting my victims because you're not
Oh my
interested in
gosh, you
bettering
care about
things.
the
You're
victims
on
of the
here
school
bullshitting
shooting?
with people.
You
So
care
have a good
about the
night.
you care about the victims of I'm somehow hurting the victims of your school shooting while you're sitting on this app trying to garner sympathy because you were attacked by swords and I'm the problem, John?
Yeah, you are a part of the problem because a lot of people who are on here, they're pretty much instigating and creating hate and fueling that anger among people. You are a part of the problem. If you go through a lot of my stuff, I'm talking about positivity. And although I might talk about the man who attacked me, I talk about forgiving him. I talk about how I hope he has a
I
better
love
life.
how you
I talk
said
about how I fought
my
so he didn't
victim.
end up
Did
in
you know
prison for the
did
rest
you
of his
notice
life.
how you called the victims of the school shooting your victims? How you made sure to identify them as yours. You own that. You own mine, my victims. So you get to control how everybody else identifies with what you did. Do you know the
What are you
ridiculousness
talking
in
about?
that?
Because if I didn't call them my victims, then people would be saying, hey, you need to own up to it. You need to see that these are your victims.
No. You could have simply said the victims.
No,
Because
because
you're
that's the thing. It
how
is
I
I
how
always have people on one side or the other, no matter what I say, get upset. So I own up to it. They are my victims because they're the victims of my actions. That's why I say it. Not because I want to control them, but because I'm owning up to what I did.
The language here is so possessive that it's disgusting. He swears up and down that he only phrased it like that because people keep telling him to own up to his actions. But to go as far as to say that this is only his story to tell is asinine. I don't think that this man cares about the victims and being the solution after being the problem, which was his bio, by the way. Cringe. I think he cares about people who see through his manipulation and are telling the story in a way that paints him to be the bad guy because he is the bad guy. He can't profit off of this shit if everyone is calling for his removal from the platform. This is all an ego boost for him, and he's pissed that he can't publicly be the savior that he wants to be. Guys, we don't need a school shooter to tell people not to be school shooters. Helen Keller could have told us that, babe. We don't need you to tell us that. Duh! Oh my god. I'm kidding. I'm getting heated. He is not helping anyone. He is just re-traumatizing his victims and gaining popularity as a direct result of the disgusting thing that he has done. He shouldn't be invited into schools. He shouldn't have a platform. He shouldn't be speaking publicly about anything at all. He should disappear from the internet and live a quiet life away from the spotlight. If he actually wants change to happen, he should do it anonymously if he cares that much. He doesn't need his face to be everywhere in order to push this message across. Duh! I'm not wishing any harm towards him or praying for his downfall because that unfortunately that's just not the person that I am. I do, however, sympathize with the victims of his actions and from the countless school shootings that have happened before and after John Romano. I sympathize with the mothers and fathers who are terrified to drop off their children at school because they never know if that'll be the last time that they see them alive. I sympathize with the parents that send their little ones off to school in bulletproof backpacks just in case. I sympathize with the faculty, the school faculty, and the educators who are willing to risk their lives for the children in their classroom, despite that not even being their job. I sympathize with the children, whether they're in kindergarten or in college, because they have the potential to risk their lives every day just to get an education. I sympathize with the people who have passed away due to gun violence because the only thing that they did wrong was decide to show up to school that day. I sympathize with the families who have lost their loved one to gun violence because that wound is something that just it never heals. Not completely, and they're never the same again. I sympathize with the survivors of gun violence who may never want to step foot in a school again, who may be traumatized for life. And as much as I scream ACAB, I sympathize with the law enforcement who have lost their lives while attempting to stop active school shooters. I don't give a shit about John Romano. I don't give a shit about his story or his feelings, because it doesn't matter. He doesn't matter. His story is not the takeaway from February 9th, 2004. His story is not the one that should be told, and his story should not be overshadowing the voices of the people who were affected by his actions.
I'm sure many of you have seen these stitches with the individual who was involved in a 2004 school shooting. He was sentenced to 20 years and did a little over 15. Oh my God, I'm shaking making this. Out of curiosity, I went and clicked on this man's profile and I saw that he follows me. I'm guessing it's from the video I made where I asked 10 teachers what they would do in the event of a school shooting. The caption in my bio says, "Dead kids can't read." If you are unfamiliar with me, I am an early childhood educator and a parent who went from teaching in public school to teaching privately because of gun violence. I could not continue to go to work every day and feel scared that I was going to die. The first time I ever had to tell a group of kindergartners about a lockdown drill changed me. Have you ever looked into the eyes of 27 5-year-olds and told them that they would be okay when you're pretty sure that they wouldn't be? Have you ever thought about using your body as a human shield to protect babies? I drop my 3rd grader off at school every day and I pray over her that she will make it home from school. That's the reality of living in the United States. And you, sir, are one of the OG school shooters. The only reason you are out walking around as a free man is because no one died. And thank God no one died. But you ruined people's lives that day. There are people who are never going to feel safe again because of you. You say that you want to be part of the solution. Speak privately with psychologists and school counselors so they know what to look for, but you should not have a platform. And no one should be supporting this man's platform. You are a narcissist, and I believe that you are evil. I believe people are capable of change. But it takes a special kind of person, a special kind of evil, to walk into a building with children with the intent on taking their lives. If you care about making a change, you will leave this platform.
Thankfully, I have never been in a school shooting. I've been close to some, but luckily I was never actually in one. What's infuriating about this entire ordeal is that people are forgiving John Romano. People who weren't even there, mind you, because he technically didn't kill anybody, but he could have. He really could have. The whole situation, it's too close for comfort. And if you can disconnect from that so much that you're able to forgive someone who went into their high school with a gun. I don't even know what to say, man. I don't have any words for you. In the description of this video, I have links to resources if you would like to help stand against gun violence. I have United Against Gun Violence, and then I have Sandy Hook Promise as well. I also have a resource that helps people cope with gun violence. I know this isn't a lot. I wish there was more that I could do, but it's a step in the right direction. If you would like to help out, support, or if you just want to educate yourself, feel free. The links will be down in the description, as well as any other helpful resources that I find between me recording this video and releasing it. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry, this is really ranty. And I know I said Halloween themed videos all throughout October. I didn't mean the top because we're going to be Halloween related. You're just going to see a Halloween intro. Sorry to clickbait you or mislead you. All right. If you like the video, you know the drill. Like the video, like whatever. I'm really not in the mood to go through my whole spiel. I'll see you eventually. Okay, bye.